every single one of those sisters sat at that round table and lied. It wasn't just Tamar acting erratically. Toni lied and told on herself in her confessional. Trina lied and told on herself in her confessional. Towanda lied and pretty much told on herself in her confessional. Tamar acting erratically exacerbated everything for sure. Tamar had no right whatsoever to put her hands on Trina, but Trina, you did move her out the way. You moved her out the way. And for Towanda to sit there and say she's not going to argue with somebody that is sick when you have an autoimmune deficiency yourself that is showing up in the way of alopecia, F all of them. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is TammyTalks. We are back to talk the Braxtons. Y'all know I do my Braxton recaps on Sunday. I said, let me go on and talk about this now. Oh my God. This is season 2, episode 4. Where did we go wrong? Before we get started, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, hype the video, and then leave your comments down below. Now, don't treat me like a Braxton. Y'all been treating me like I'm Tammy Braxton. I know I got the T and all. Subscribe to the channel, y'all. I'm trying to get to 47,000 subs. I'm less than 500 subs away. I looked at my analytics. 62% of y'all that have been watching these Braxton recaps that are passing 10K a week, y'all are not subscribed. Why? I don't ask y'all for money. I don't ask y'all for memberships. Okay? Hit the subscribe button. It's free 99. All right? Let's go ahead. All right, so we pick up right where we left off at the round table, where Toni feels that Tamar came prepared to attack them when Toni thought they were coming there to talk about Miss E, okay? So, Tamar, remember, pulled out the manila folders, and she's saying that the sister sent her a cease and desist, okay? We know that Michael Braxton Jr., Mikey, we know that he did send a cease and desist because he also sent his daughter one, right? However, I still 1000% believe that Trina has something to do with it, and you won't be able to convince me otherwise, okay? So Tamar asks, how did the man get her address? How did he get my address? And I feel like that's a valid question, right? Trina is like, well, he's an attorney. That's what he is. Trina, we know. And what I didn't like this entire situation was the way that Trina sat and was very smug the entire time, right? It's like Trina wanted this to happen so that Tamar, because they're going to gang up on her, it happens, so that Tamar would be kind of pushed into the side by herself. And then we can bury this so that my ex-husband that I married twice, that was a habitual cheater on me, right? That my kids didn't even like, right? That I took his side over the situation with my niece, a minor at the time. Whatever. Tamar feels that her safety has been compromised because, according to Tamar, the house is not even in her name. So it should not have been, it's not public information where her address is, okay? Some y'all were putting in my comments where her condo was, but okay. So Tamar wants them to think about Logan and think about Logan's safety. Trina said in a confessional, the name of who is filing the cease and desist is going to be on the paperwork and to read the paperwork. She also goes on to say that she had nothing to do with it. I don't believe that, Trina, because Trina, at the table, you didn't deny it. Toni and Towanda were very vocal about I didn't do it, I didn't do it. You sat there very smug, Trina. So then Tamar says to Towanda, do you know where I live? And Towanda was like, no. Tamar said, yeah, because you don't come. I know where you live, though, because I put the down payment on your house. Towanda says, thank you for the gift. Tamar said, it was not a gift. Give me my money back. I said, here we go. Here we go. In Tamar's confessional, she is alleging that Tamar Tamar is alleging in her confessional that Towanda needed a certain amount of money in her account, her checking account, in order to get the house. She had a lender that was ready and waiting, and Towanda had a check that was supposed to be coming. She said when she got the check, she was going to give Tamar her money back. At the round table, Tamar said that it was $50,000. Towanda was like, it was not, it was 35. It's still a bunch of fucking money. Semantics. Semantics, right? So Tamar is saying that's not true because you have me listed as a creditor. Now, TMZ did their due deals. We know that Towanda filed bankruptcy some years ago, and she did have Tamar listed as a creditor for $35,000. So if you have her listed as a creditor for $35,000, that is not a gift. That is not a gift. Towanda is in her confessional saying that if she knew what she knows now, she wouldn't have accepted the money. Why don't you give her money back then? Here's the thing. If you wait, why not give her money back then? I don't believe it was a gift either. I think that Tamar said, you trying to get this house, girl? Okay, cool. I'll give you the money. You said you're going to give it back. Fine. Because if this happened around 2018, when Towanda got that house, Tamar was going through that divorce from Vince in which she was losing a lot of stuff. I don't think that Tamar has $35,000 to just pass around like that. I personally don't. I could be wrong. I don't know that lady's money. I don't know her financial situation, but I don't think that at the time of going through that divorce that Tamar had $35,000 to give away. Towanda then quickly pivots and asks Toni if Tamar has paid her when she stayed in one of her condos. And Toni was like, that doesn't even matter. Tamar was saying yes, okay? Tamar then said, look, I had a phone. I was getting a new phone line, and I was about to get, because something was getting ready to get cut off, and she found out that Towanda was using Tamar's credit card to pay her phone bill. And she found out that she was a part of Towanda's family phone plan. Towanda, once again, does not deny this. She doesn't deny it. Towanda is like, because you say it doesn't make it true, and Toni mouthed it doesn't make it true. And that's when I gotta come over to Toni, because what I don't like that Toni does. What I don't like that Toni does is Toni will sit and scream to the heavens when Tamar calls her out for not having her back, that I have your back and I do this and I do that for you. But then in this moment right here, you're taking sides. If this is what Tamar told you and you're admitting that Tamar did tell you this, why would you sit and mouth to Towanda, mouth inaudible to Towanda? Doesn't make it true. Say it out loud so Tamar can hear. I felt like Toni came into this picking sides, and a lot of it is because Toni is upset about the Ashley Braxton thing too, right? I feel like Toni likes to assert herself when it comes to her sisters, and she is the eldest, right? But she likes to assert herself as she is top dog and she's Toni Braxton. I don't like when people talk in third person. I don't, because I feel like you're giving yourself too much in that moment. Towanda then flips it and says, Tamar, what have you stole? And Tamar said, I don't steal. I said, I know that's right. Towanda said, well, you steal men. You slept with some of Toni's men. They blow out and cover their mouth. We don't know who it is. Tamar is very upset about this, so it is true, right? It's true. Because if it's not true, you wouldn't be all up in arms like this. So Tamar stands up, she flips her glass over, and the entire time Trina is smirking, right? Because it gives that Trina and Towanda have sat down and they have thought about, if we get into a big argument, what can we pull out of the tuck? What can we pull out of the vault to go at Tamar about? Because Trina, why are you smirking? You know what I mean? But then Trina's the main one that's saying that I don't know how we got this bad and we don't do this to each other. But you weren't trying to de-escalate it either, Trina. You weren't trying to. You know what I mean? So Tamar is like, well, you're lying. And he told me that he slept with Towanda and she calls Towanda a dirty ass bitch or something like that. Toni starts screaming for everybody to calm the fuck down and to shut the fuck up because they don't do ghetto shit. Yes, y'all do. Since when? Everything about this show has been ghetto, Toni. Y'all have season after season, episode after episode, y'all sit and fight and bicker like this. Since when don't y'all do ghetto shit? Since when? Towanda said that she doesn't argue with sick people. Says the woman with alopecia. What? But in this moment, if you feel and you're acknowledging your sister is sick, right? Your sister is sick. Why are you antagonizing her? Why antagonize her? And I'm not defending Tamar. I'm just breaking down what Towanda said, right? Because if you are saying that your sister is sick and she has a mental illness, then why do you go back and forth with her? Why do you fall for the trap that Tamar sets out for y'all? If you feel that I thought Tamar got diagnosed with bipolarism. She said anxiety and depression. Did I make that up? I could have swore it was in the blogs that Tamar said she was bipolar. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, my bad. But if you know that your sister is having some type of mental break, as y'all think she's having, why antagonize her? Why go back and forth with her? Why try to throw stones out? You do argue with sick people. You do. Towanda, you like to sit and antagonize, and because you are able to do a better job at keeping your composure, right? And you know how to keep your body still, and you know how to sit, and you know how to keep your breathing level, and you know how to not yell and scream and do all that, and you know that Tamar's unpredictable ass does not know how to do that. You do this stuff where you like to argue with her just enough to trigger her so she goes off, right? And then it looks like, well, Towanda must be right because look at how Tamar's acting. Tamar then said that I will fuck you up and that all of y'all need pills. Tamar then makes sure to go on and let us know that they will not make her feel bad because she has been diagnosed with anxiety and depression from what's going on in this family. They all make it seem as if their family could not possibly be the reason that Tamar has anxiety and depression. I think all of y'all got some shit going on with y'all. Let's be real. Let's be real. Toni then said that Tamar is a mean girl and that the family still supports her. Tamar said, no, y'all hate me and y'all are jealous of me. Do I think that the sisters are jealous of Tamar? I think in some capacity, I do think that Trina and Towanda have a level of jealousy. I do. And I think that most people are going to say, well, Toni could never be jealous of Tamar because she has more money and stuff like that. You can be jealous of people for all sorts of different things. Toni could be jealous of Tamar because Tamar's not sick. Tamar doesn't have lupus. Tamar doesn't have a heart condition, right? Trina could be jealous of Tamar because Tamar has the singing career that she wanted. Towanda could be jealous of Tamar because Tamar has the money that Towanda clearly needs. Tamar is clearly jealous of Toni because Toni has the career that Tamar wants. Right? Tamar could be jealous of Towanda because everybody believes Towanda. Towanda is able to compose herself more. Towanda is able to keep her composure more. Tamar could be jealous of Trina because and I'm not being shady. It hasn't come to me. But Tamar could be jealous of Trina for something as well. It's not always like, in your face type of stuff. So Tamar then is saying that I think they're all jealous of each other and they all resent each other. And we know that none of these sisters like each other. Toni then looks in the camera like she is on an episode of The Office and said mental illness is real. This show should be about mental illness. But my thing is, again, Toni, that comes across so condescending because if you feel that your sister's going through something, because you said it, you think that Tamar is going through something mentally in this moment, for you to then try to make light about it and try to make a joke about it and then be condescending about it, that's not cool either. Because here's the thing, if y'all think that Tamar is doing the most right now, get up and walk out. But no, y'all sit there and y'all argue with her. Y'all are just as guilty as she is, right? So Tamar Tamar gives out her pills and her dosage, said they all need to be on it. Tamar then starts singing while they are trying to talk. Toni said that Tamar drew first blood, Towanda did, because Tamar asked Towanda about her wedding. She asked Towanda about Tulum. She asked Towanda some questions. Towanda was like, well, I heard you ain't want to film with us. Towanda drew first blood. The tension at the table started before Tamar put out the cease and desist. Toni then said, well, I've been paying my publicist to help Tamar from what she does on social media. She goes in her confessional and said that Tamar is comfortable with being infamous instead of being famous, which is true. Tamar knows that she's the villain. Tamar knows that she is looked at as a villain. Tamar knows that she is looked at as erratic and annoying and unpredictable. And I think Tamar leans into that. You don't want to be infamous. You don't. Tamar then said that Toni is the one that said that they need to have Ashley on the show. I said this last week and the week before when we kept seeing the preview of this, that the way that Toni reacted gave guilty. It gave guilty. Toni's a Libra. I'm a Libra. I know exactly what that reaction was. Toni sits up at this table, screams and yells, and don't fuck with me, Tamar, and doing all of this rat-tat-tat-tat about how she did not say that, all for Toni to get in her confessional and admit that, yeah, she said it, but she said it, but Tamar took it intentionally. Why not say that at the table then, Toni? Why not say it at the table? I think that Toni did want Ashley on the show to talk about this. I think she did. And I think that after they had a family conversation, Trina said no because it's going to have blowback on her. And Towanda and Trina are always going to have each other's back no matter what. So Towanda said no as well. And the three of them, along with Mikey, decided to send Tamar a cease and desist so that the story could not come out by way of this platform at all. That's what happened. So Toni pushes back the table and gets in Tamar's face and asks her, Toni pushes the table back and she gets in Tamar's face when Tamar is asking her if you think I fucked, and I don't know if she said Birdman or Carrie or whoever else Toni's been linked with, but she said somebody's name and they blurred it out. So Toni and Tamar are like this, okay? They're in each other's face. Trina comes in and gets in between them. When Trina got in between them, she touches Tamar's shoulder and she pushes Tamar back. Now, was Trina doing it to be malicious or intentional or to fight Tamar? She wasn't, but you did touch her. You did. Because it's not like Trina got in between them and pushed Toni back. You pushed Tamar back. And I don't even want to say pushed. You just kind of moved so you could squeeze in between them, right? Tamar is upset and pushes Trina. Trina's like, I didn't touch Tamar. I got in the middle because Toni is smaller than Tamar. Tamar's childish ass is now behind security. She she pulls Trina's hair, and we see Trina's head snap back, and apparently Tamar kicked her. So now Toni is pissed and said that Tamar does not get to put her hands on Trina. So now we have Toni trying to lunge at Tamar. What happened to we don't do ghetto stuff? And I'm not saying that Tamar is in the right in this, but y'all let it get to this point because y'all should have gotten up and walked away from the table, but y'all wanted to create a scene. Y'all wanted this scene. Y'all wanted the scene to go on so that Tamar could look crazy, so that the audience could say, oh yeah, see how Tamar's reacting? Tamar's in the wrong. When a big chunk of this is because Toni sat her ass at that table and lied. Toni lied. You're making it seem as if Tamar was out on the limb on her own, wanting to bring your niece on the show when you're saying in the confessional, yeah, we talked about it, and I said it was a good idea, and if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Toni suggested it. And Tamar said, bet. But to say that, oh, she took it intentional, how else was she supposed to take it? Did y'all have another conversation about it? So now Trina is saying, yeah, Tamar kicked me. Tamar kicked me. You've had nothing to say this entire time. And something else about Trina that I wrote down after the fact. When Tamar said something to Trina about you didn't have my back, well, why didn't you speak up? Trina said in that moment, you were a grown-ass woman. I don't have to fight for you. I don't have to have your back. I don't have to speak up for you. But you have no problem speaking up for Toni. And you have no problem speaking up for Towanda. Towanda wants to call the cops and press charges. Go sit the fuck down, Towanda. Because why do you want to press charges? Toni is saying, I'm not calling the cops. Why am I going to call the cops on my sister? For an argument? But Towanda wants to press charges. That's hatred. That's hatred. I don't have sisters. I have one older brother. We have never gotten into an argument like this, but it would never cross my mind to be like, I'm going to call and press charges. That was low. That was low. So Tamar and Trina are still going back and forth with Tamar saying that, Trina, you put your hands on me. Trina is still saying, I didn't touch you. You did. But all you have to say, Trina, is all I did was get in between you, Tamar. I wasn't pushing you like that. I wasn't trying to touch you like that. I was breaking y'all up. That is all Trina had to say. But Trina wants to sit up here and gaslight Tamar. When a person is on 100, the way that Tamar is, you touching her even so slightly is going to be perceived as a threat. And you know that. You know that because you weren't born yesterday. Trina, you know that. So now Trina is saying that she feels bad for Tamar. Tamar is in full psychotic mode at this point, and she's saying that they're all jealous of her and they tried to destroy her business. Now, I don't know why Tamar keeps saying that they tried to destroy her business based off of the cease and desist. That's not destroying your whole business, Tamar. So you gotta stop with that bullshit too. Right? They didn't want it on the podcast or on the show. That is not your only business. We want you to sing. That's it. We don't want much from Tamar. We want Tamar to sing. And if you're not going to sit on the stage, Tamar, and sing, then that's on you. But the podcast that nobody knows that you even had is not your business. That's not your sole form of business. That podcast is not putting money in your bank account, and it's not putting that much food on the table. Let's be very for real about that. Tamar is now telling production that the sisters are mad that she is exposing them for who they are, and I 1000% believe that too. There's a truth and a lie in everything that everybody is saying. Tamar then swears on Towanda's kids that Towanda is the one that slept with Toni's boyfriends. Towanda takes that as Tamar putting a curse on her kids. So Towanda is now yelling for Trina to leave with her. And Trina is saying, well, let's take the mics off. Why does Trina have to leave with you, Towanda? If you want to leave, leave. Y'all didn't ride together. Remember, Trina came in, you were already sitting down eating. Tamar is erratic in this scene, but there's some truth in what she's saying, and the way that the sisters reacted proves there is some truth in what she is saying. The fact that they felt comfortable even airing the scene is crazy. And the way that y'all keep saying in the comments, Tracy didn't want this. Tracy was the main one that we saw running up on Tamar trying to fight too. We got to stop with the revisionist history. I understand that Tracy passed, and it is very sad that Tracy passed, but we're not going to act like majority of the almost physical altercations didn't come by way of Tracy turning in a threatening way towards Tamar, telling Tamar she was going to fuck her up, or Tracy running up on Tamar and the sisters having to stop her too. Because I know it's coming, okay? So then I guess let's get to the rest of the episode. Like, my God, 25 minutes? Towanda and Trina. So they are out now. It's the next day, and they are getting the final measurements for some of the ladies of distinction, okay? Towanda said that she's sad because of what happened. I don't think you are. I think that's exactly what you wanted to have happen, Towanda. She said that Tamar is unpredictable, and she doesn't feel safe with Tamar anymore. You don't feel safe? You don't feel safe with Tamar? Buzzwords, dangerous rhetoric. Your sister is not going to hit you. Tamar wasn't going to hit Toni. Tamar told the production to move because she wasn't going to hit Trina. Stop it. So Trina then said that Tamar was upset that she called Toni classy. That's not why she was upset. And you know it's not. So Towanda then said that she has to draw a line not in the sand, but in the concrete, and she does not want Tamar at her wedding or her bridal shower. Cool. Toni's in Miami. I said, not you in Miami when you're supposed to be at the... Okay. Toni's in Miami at rehearsal for the music festival. And Toni said that she needs to sing certain parts of the show for real. Like, so I need the mic plugged in. I'm only bringing this up and I'm only focusing on this particular part because catch what Toni says. I need to sing certain parts for real. Every singer sings with a backtrack, right? The way that Brandy and Monica are getting so much hell on the Boy Is Mine tour because it's clear that they're using a backtrack freshly recorded for the show, mind you. Backtrack and they're only singing certain parts. Toni is letting y'all know right here, okay? I just wanted to bring that up. So we find out that, Toni got news that Angie Stone had passed away a week before. And what I didn't know is that Toni and Angie Stone shared backup singers and some technicians alongside with sharing a music director. So what that means is that a lot of Toni's people are not going to be able to make it. One, some of them were in the van with Angie Stone at that moment and they were in the accident. And like, it's just crazy. Like, it's fresh. Like, let's, Toni even tells them, if y'all can't make it, y'all can't make it. That's cool. So Toni now has to rework her entire show because she has, she doesn't have her full shebang the way that she usually does. So what that means is that she's not going to be able to fly back home for Towanda's bridal shower. Meanwhile, Towanda and Trina are still there, and now the ladies of distinction are all... the ladies of honor, lady of distinction, it's just... Towanda's bridesmaids are all there, and they're asking if she's excited for the bridal shower. She has her Bridgerton theme, which... the way that everybody's dresses and stuff looked at the end, fire. I would love to go to a Bridgerton party. So while they're there, Toni actually calls Towanda, tells her that she will not be able to make it to the show because she's not even in Atlanta right now, and she has all these issues with her background and all that type of stuff. Trina immediately starts crying. Immediately. So Towanda is like, Trina's crying, and Toni was like, Trina, please, because you're making it worse, right? So then Trina, who previously said that to Tamar, you're a grown-ass woman, I don't have to speak up for you, in this moment speaks up for Towanda and tells her that, Towanda is really upset. I can tell. Towanda really doesn't cry, but her eyes are watering up. And I was with Toni. Don't make it worse than it needs to be, right? Toni tells Towanda she will make it up to her. And Towanda is now wondering why didn't Toni block out the entire weekend, and said that she has known about this for 8 months. Now, 8 months. If you have had your bridal shower planned for 8 months, did she say 8 months or 8 weeks? I heard months. But if you have had this plan for 8 months, why did you wait until 3 weeks out to get a dress? Y'all see how, like, something's not making sense. Something's not making sense. But okay. Tamar is doing a video shoot for that bullshit she did with Mendices when she sat up there and lied about her teeth falling out and all that type of stuff. She's doing I guess part of the shooting for this. And OG tells Tamar that they can't be fighting like this. Tamar said within they shouldn't fight. Tamar is alleging that she's never seen them fight like this before, and she feels that the sisters are upset that she simply wanted to give her niece Ashley a platform, and I do believe that. I 1000% believe that. And I think a big part of it is Trina does not want the backlash. Tamar said that her sisters only talk to her when the cameras are up. She has said that before. I think when she means sisters, I think she's referring to Trina and Towanda, because I think that Toni and Tamar talk often. Tamar said that when Towanda brought up was something that happened in 1995, so that would be when Tamar was 18 years old. That would be when Tamar was 18 years old, if my math is correct. So Towanda reached back to something that happened 30 years ago. Okay. I'm with Tamar when it comes to this. You got to really hate somebody for in this moment, when y'all are arguing about stuff that happened recently, for you to go back 30 years and say, well, when we were teenagers, Tamar slept with your boyfriend at the time, or whatever the case happened. Tamar said that Towanda has not talked to her since the last taping of the show, and I 1000% believe that. Tamar feels that her sisters don't like her. They don't, and I don't think you like your sisters either. So the feeling is mutual. We pan over to Towanda. She's getting dressed for her bridal shower. Immediately, she mentions that she is disappointed that Toni isn't there. You don't have to start off every scene with a woe is me, Towanda. You could have made this scene about your bridal shower and how much fun it was and how excited you are for your dress and all that type of stuff. You keep trying to put this woe is me moment, and it is crazy. It's crazy, and it's making you very, very unlikable. Towanda then wants to, really yuck it up and said, on top of this, Tracy's not here. Tracy's not here. Okay. She is then asked by one of the bridesmaids if Tamar is coming. Towanda doesn't answer, and it's like somebody popped the champagne. But then her confessional, she's like, who cares who's coming? I'm there. You care who's coming and who's not coming, because you just talked about Toni not coming. Like, it's like the hypocrisy just oozes out. Oh my God. So Towanda is leaving to go to the venue that is 40 minutes away with no traffic. I don't know why she didn't get dressed there. But when she gets there, she feels a way that certain ladies of honor are missing, including Trina, because she feels that they should have been there because they left 40 minutes or an hour before she did. So you should have been there. So then we get this woe is me. Once again, where where Towanda is letting us know that, I'm always there for everyone, and no one's here for me, and I don't understand. Like, I do so much, and it's like, you can keep saying it all you want to, baby. It's not going to change anything. Trina walks in late and starts eating. And one of Towanda's ladies of honor, who clearly wanted some screen time, was like, "I'ma let them know. I'ma let them know. I'ma talk to him. We gonna wrap this up tonight, girl. Bye, girl. Bye." The guests aren't even there. So what difference does it make if? Let me know your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. Hype up the video if y'all got hype. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.